It's Wednesday on Your View. Welcome to the show. I am Morayo Afolabi Brown. As always, I have the ladies with me. Nima Akasha Zebere, how are you?
Fine. It's the beginning of the International Women's Month. And so I'm starting my own episode today on my Rights Radio podcast.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Well
done.
My first guest is Morijana Kamaldeen. She's the...
On your Instagram page?
No, I'll go live.
Rights Radio.
I plan to go live this time around. We did the 16 days awareness in December, but I plan to go live today on my Instagram, sharing what we're doing today. I'm speaking with the special assistant to the DG of NAPTIP.
What's the topic?
The VAP Act. It's called the VAP Act series, so we start to talk on problems, issues that the VAP Act has addressed, as the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act. So we'll talk about them in various phases. So tomorrow I have another guest.
Fantastic. Well done.
We'll do today.
Well done. How are you doing, Mariam?
I'm fine. I'm good. I'm
breezed in late
grateful
this morning.
I don't know about breezing in, but it just happened. Really bad accident happened right in front of me this morning. Very sad. But you know what is even sadder or more sad is a lot of people got down from their cars, and the first thing they did was to whip out their phones, and they were taking pictures and videos. And it took some well-meaning good Samaritans to rush down, try to get the door open. There were little children in school uniforms
and
in that bus.
The bus.
It was not a school bus. There
were no fatalities. There were no fatalities.
No, not at the scene.
Things be broken.
Yeah, but it was a shocking experience.
Not at the scene.
You still seem really shaken.
Yeah, I'm a bit shaky.
Yeah. Seeing children in that situation is really... I'm so happy there were no fatalities and the kids were able to get to...
Yeah. We need to do better because there are military cars just passing by. I mean, if you're in the military, I would expect that the first thing you do is to get down and try to help. You know, it just took regular Nigerians, some of them trying to stop other cars from moving so that we could help those who were in the accident.
How are you doing, Tobe?
Grateful to God. I really think that I should just dwell a bit more on what Mariam just said, because we see pictures and videos of accidents go viral, and I wonder who rescued those people when those pictures were being taken, and if we're paying enough attention to the humanity as opposed to trending online. And we just need to remind ourselves of what is most important. I was going to come and market property before, but really, in the face of these issues, it just weakens us as, like, what's going on. There's room for improvement. This is a wake-up call. For every time you're reminded, check within yourself. Are you being kind? Are you being sensitive? Are you responding selflessly? You know.
Right.
And today is a very special day.
So we have a special edition of this year's International Women's Day coming up next week. We'll be sharing you more of the details in the coming episodes, but we have a special program we're planning for International Women's Day next week, and we'd like our viewers to stay tuned. Today's also the pastor of RCCG, the General Overseer, Pastor E. Adeboye. He's 80 years today. Happy birthday,
Happy
sir.
birthday, Daddy Gio.
It's a good thing to be 80. We all pray that we're 80 and beyond.
Yes.
And it's good to see the work he has done, the work God has used him
legacy.
to do. And we pray that he continue to have happiness, peace, joy, and fruitfulness in all the things he does.
We love you and we appreciate you.
Let's go on a break. When we return, we go through the front pages of the papers. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
All right, we're going to start with the nation. Senators, reps, no bill seeking VAT for federal government. Buhari turns down governor's plea to drop Adamu. Dowen College expels bully. President goes on 2 weeks medical vacation. Buhari, Oyetola, Tinubu, others eulogize Adeboye at 80. ASU has received 92 billion naira, says federal government. All right, let's start with the major headlines. Like, it's a major news across Nigeria this morning, where it says that yesterday the lawmakers voted, and we're all tuned in to the National Assembly to see how they were voting. We're going to discuss it a bit later, but it's good to just establish a few things that were accepted. So the laws that were passed, establishment of the Office of Accountant General of the Federation, the Office of Accountant General at the state also. Remember, we had that issue where there was a conflict between the federal and the state. So there's an establishment of the office of both state and federal. Then the separation of Office of Attorney General of the Federation, like I just said that. But more disappointingly, a few bills that did not pass was more of the diaspora voting, the gender bills, expansion of the scope of executive immunity, affirmative action, removal of presiding officer. These ones did not pass, and I will hope that at some point we'll have a show where we'll break down each of these laws and explain to Nigerians what it means and what it doesn't mean. So hopefully we'll have one of these days where we can break it down line item by line item so that you can understand it. But in a nutshell, the votings happened yesterday, and some were good, some were not so good.
I like the fact that the Senate President, while talking about the pension for, principal officers of the National Assembly, laughed it off that, this wasn't possible at this time. So they too, they know that,
I'm even interested in who voted for what. I want to know who voted.
No, it's yeah and
no, but I think they actually voted. They voted. So I'd like to know who voted and have an idea of, let's have a
who are the ones that are tilted against
women. Where are
those
those against
know.
the So it would be nice to have that conversation.
I hope you know that your names will be put down according to what you voted, how you voted.
It's another story.
Yes. The president has gone on a 2-week, very important break. He will be in Nairobi for a 4-day stop before he goes on his 2-week medical check, and it starts today. He got an invitation by the Kenyan president to attend the United Nations Environmental Program 50 years anniversary, which he will be attending for 4 days. These are more important things as opposed to, the lack of fuel, the scarcity, the queues in Nigeria, and the ASU strike and all the other things that we're dealing with. Our president can go on his medical trip, but the Minister for Petroleum must deal with the scarcity. But, it's just unfortunate.
Let me take the Bowen story. You know that there's Dowen, rather. There's still been the inquest into the death of Sylvester Oromomi Jr. And the principal of the college, while in a disclosure in the conversation, answering in a cross-examination by Femi Falano, mentioned the fact that the school has, in the past 4 months after the death, had expelled a bully that they found out about. The report was made. The person who was being bullied, the student was being bullied also, had withdrawn from the school by his parents, but the school itself expelled that bully, and that work is going on. She also mentioned that she sent a condolence letter, and that she even made a phone call when she found out.
She actually broke down during the coroner's questioning, and one of the things she had also highlighted was that there was, just like we said in the past, there was issues of bullying, and the bully that happened was that the sister of Sylvester had reported that they were asking her younger sister's brother, which is the late Sylvester, to describe her private area. And those bullies who did that, according to this principal, were, I think, were suspended internally for that. But I think now they've gone further to expel, because obviously this is the issue. But according to them, they investigated and found out the bullies that did that, and then already did the incident.
Yes, from the southeast, government attacked a police station at Njaba, Imo State. They said it happened yesterday about 1:40, but thankfully they were repelled by the police officers, and then eventually also as they ran by soldiers, that they had come in and they had with them what you call IEDs. Those are improvised explosive devices, and they were shooting sporadically, trying to gain entrance, but they suffered a lot of casualties. That's what the police is reporting. They suffered casualties. And when they saw that, they all ran away into the bushes. They abandoned their vehicle and other items that at the scene. They had a pump action gun and a Sienna vehicle. I hope that also they were able to at least apprehend a few of them alive, so that they can, further investigate and find out who exactly they were.
Okay, moving on to the Punch. FG loses out in National Assembly affirms state powers to collect VAT. Ekiti Varsity students arrested for cultism, hemp charms, and was all recovered. 5 bodies recovered. Rescue continues as the Delta vessel explosion. Tinubu won't oppose reconciliation with Aregbesola, says aid. Transport fares rise. Filling stations sell petrol above 200 naira. And Electoral Act Amendment appointees unconstitutional, says Buhari. Russian invasion of Nigeria to evacuate Ghanaians, Cameroonians, and others. ASU demand mustn't violate wages commission's procedure, says Ngige. All right.
So Ekiti states in Oye Council area, about 6 suspected cultists, alleged members of the Norsemen, were arrested 8:30 a.m. on Tuesday. They were holding a meeting. In the meeting, there's sort of like a hideout in the university. The police public relations officer, Sunday Adebutu, said that the command received credible information this was taking place, and they intercepted the rapid response unit, mobilized to the scene. They were able to arrest them. They listed their names, said they confessed during the investigation and during interrogation that they are students of the Federal University of Oye-Ekiti, and they were caught in a process that made them look like they were cultists.
All right.
Remember the Delta vessel explosion that happened?
Yeah.
So the company, the management of Shiba Exploration and Production Company Limited, had announced that they recovered 5 more dead bodies. And you know that the fire was contained since February 3rd. And, you know, till now, they are still trying to recover bodies. They said they are still in the process of recovering more bodies. They've also started a coroner inquest, and forensic pathologists have started to help them to identify bodies. The 3 survivors, they said they are in contact with their families, they are assisting them, you know, on recovery. They've footed their medical bills, they're doing all that they can. But they said, as part of the investigation, what was revealed was that people that were not supposed to be on that vessel at the time of the accident, who were not supposed to be on duty, or persons that were not authorized, were also found to have been on the vessel before the explosion. And so
really sad.
This has toughened their job, so they just can't work with the list of the people expected to be on the vessel. They're setting on unauthorized persons, which would need them to start to identify and continue the search for bodies.
All right, let's go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll continue with the review. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We're still reviewing Punch. So there's a story I want to take, but you have a story. Go ahead, Mary.
So the Minister of Labour and Employment, Dr. Chris Ngige, yesterday, while speaking to correspondents, said that concerning ASU and the ASU strike, just the back and forth between them, he says that the government is committed to enhancing the remuneration of university lecturers. I want to read what he says exactly. He says that he says our university lecturers deserve good pay. The worker deserves his wages. So if we compare what is obtained in other climes, we can say that they are not adequately remunerated, and that the government has nothing, you know, against improving their compensation, even though we have lean resources. But he says, as he's always explained to them, is that there is a process for this. And whatever their demands are, it has to be considered together with the National Salaries and Wages Commission to ensure that the proposed allowance do not exceed government's extant fixtures. He says that he's constantly explaining to them there has to be a process, that the president has read the brief, he's satisfied with it, but there's a process to this. So we'll see what ASU says.
Did they breach
but of
the
course,
contract?
In other news, the Trade Union Congress is not happy with the Minister for Education and the walkout, you know, that we saw on TV with NANS, the Nigerian Association of Nigerian Students.
Honestly.
All right,
Please, I found the story very interesting.
You already taken a story in Punch. Sorry, I have to take a story. So the Russian invasion. So Nigeria has been a big brother to West Africa as they are evacuating Nigerians, to about 2,000 Nigerians. They're saying that they have the capacity to evacuate about 8,000 African citizens, especially from West Africa. So they're going to be there. You know, they had initially planned to be there on Wednesday, but unfortunately, it's been delayed to Thursday morning, and that's because the host country is delaying approval for them to have their planes to land. So, but The Director, Consular and Legal at the Department of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Bolaji Akeremi, has assured Nigerians that by first thing Thursday morning, they should be able to start the evacuation of 8,000 Africans across West Africa, mostly Nigerians, back home. And from there, you now go to your different countries. I don't know if they're bringing them to Nigeria straight, they're bringing them to other European countries. I'm not sure. It's not clear yet, but they have plans, and according to them, to get out 8,000 Africans. Okay, let's run quickly now to...
I put it there for you because I know you wanted to take a story.
So there was a story I wanted to take in Guardian, which I thought was interesting. So it's still about Ukraine. Nigeria volunteer fighters besiege Ukrainian embassy. And I'm taking that story because YK said it yesterday. Remember she was saying that... Okay, so this is The Guardian, not Vanguard. This is The Guardian. So The Guardian has a story which YK had mentioned yesterday that if Ukraine sends a plane to Nigeria today, that even though they are blowing up there, Nigerians will still enter the plane. Interestingly, 115 Nigerians have gone to besiege the embassy in Abuja, saying that they are ready to be drafted to go and help them fight
They did not volunteer for the ones happening in
the North. 115 Nigerians have besieged that they want to go there.
They did not go to Ethiopia and take war and take it.
So it's interesting.
Most people,
as in,
it's lack of knowledge that they die. Abia does we say that people die for lack of knowledge.
Okay, let's move quickly to Daily Sun. APC chairmanship, Buhari rejects governor's opposition against Adamu. Alleged flogging, 19-month Delta child died of septic shock. Autopsy reveals. Hoodlums burn Abia country home, vehicles of ex-rep Nena Ukeje. Time to start stomach infrastructure, says Wike. PDP challenge result of the Ogoja Yala by-election in court. Police army fall attacked by gunmen on Imo station. Ni Alafin wade into Tinubu Aregbesola rift. Okay, which story are we taking?
I want to take the 19-month-old child. So we took the story as our topic when this 19-month-old child was allegedly flogged to death in a school called Arise and Shine Nursery and Primary School in Delta State. And unfortunately, after 5 days in hospital, he died. Oh, gosh. And so the parents have done autopsy for the child at the Federal Medical Center at Sabah. And it revealed that, according to the police PR, he said the child died of septic shock, which he himself said, that's what I can say for now. Let the medical doctors and lawyers interpret what that means. In the list, Morale interpreted what septic shock meant, and it meant a child that died from low or high blood pressure due to infection.
Infection causing a widespread infection causing organ failure and dangerously low blood pressure.
So I want to quickly link this, just doing my own small investigation. The mother of the child said that when she noticed the child was weak, she took the child to school. Okay. And she confronted the school as she was making noise and fighting. When she opened it, she saw the cane marks all over her child. Oh, gosh. She was quarreling, fighting and making a scene. And the people from the class said, our big mommy, supposedly the school owner, an uncle that's the son of the school owner, and one auntie tied Obina's hand and leg with white hanky and were flogging him like a goat. Alleged by the mother.
For whatever reason.
What? A 19-month-old child.
Yes. For whatever reason.
I hope that all this one we are saying, Delta State Police already have these people in custody. I'm just hoping, because I don't want to hear they travel, they now lost. In the list, criminal negligence, in the list, they must be found for that. In the list, that the child even died or got that injury in their custody. In the list.
Okay, moving on.
So, Governor Nyesom Wike of Rivers State.
You took my stories. Okay, go ahead.
I promised.
Stomach infrastructure.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I promised stomach infrastructure. Said that after he has delivered all the promises that he made to the people of Rivers State people, you can hear your governor said he has delivered on all his promises, providing basic infrastructure, physical infrastructure, that now he wants to take care of the welfare of the people of Rivers State, which is termed stomach infrastructure. Nicely timed.
Okay.
I think the Kano State story is there. Ganduje sacks 4 officials over forgery land scam. The Kano State has dismissed from service 4 staff of the State Bureau for Land Management for selling public landed properties, forging documents, issuing false information, and falsification of official records. The commissioner warned that the state government will not condone any misconduct And there was a proper investigation that was done. It was after the investigation that was recommended, that they were found guilty, and so they had been let go. I think it's a, step in the right direction. We need to hear more of this when civil servants are found guilty, culpable of being involved. Yes.
And they should be tried for fraud, forgery. They should be locked up.
They should be locked up.
And an example of
Yes.
Okay. The Vanguard. Fuel scarcity chokes Lagos, Abuja, Enugu. Nobody has taken this for matter.
we are waiting. Is the fine guys on the front page.
Badagry Deep Sea Port, Lagos to kick off construction in June. ASU strike, FG not opposed to higher pay for lecturers. Senate, House of Reps reject the VAT on exclusive list. World closes ranks against Russia as bomb rain on Ukraine. IOCs to scale down oil production in favor of gas. FG under pressure over rising foreign debts. How we are battling insecurity in Sokoto, Tambua. Oni, Alafmi, all wade into the Tinubu Aregbesol's rift. And Buhari rejects APC governor's plea to dump Adamu as preferred national chairman. Okay, fuel scarcity, please.
So thank you, Vanguard, for doing this investigation. And the Vanguard has already captured the situation in all major city centers, Abuja, Lagos. And according to them, NUPENG is also threatening that they will not lift product again from any of the depots that is selling beyond the 147, 148 naira per litre, which is the controlled cost of petrol. Because by the time they get out, it makes it difficult. They said that only major marketers in Abuja are selling, about only 3 or 4 of them, I think. Only 2 major marketers are selling in Abuja. In Lagos, some major marketers are selling at the normal price of 162. Some private marketers are selling at 165. In other areas where they are selling bedroom, they are selling at 340, 400 naira per litre. And, because this situation persists of the queues, people would resort to this method anyhow. Even though I don't have for this money, I'm looking for good.
I bought in Ogbomoso 2 weeks ago at over 200 naira. And most of the filling stations in Ogbomoso were selling for 210, 205, 215 as at 2 weeks ago. So I'm sure the case is worrisome now. And then there's huge traffic being caused by these queues. Many of the filling stations that have fuel, I don't know why the process has to be so slow that will lead to such long queues.
Transport fares for buses have gone to another level.
And then another thing is that they happen, I don't know about your area, but a lot of people do not have electricity.
Yes,
so you are now buying this. And then running the gen.
Last night, I did not have generator, I didn't have electricity. We have to have a meeting, but guys, we are going to sleep in heat tonight. Everybody accepted. That would cry. Oh, I can't sleep. You think you sleep tonight too? All of us slept in the heat last night.
Transformer go and blow somewhere inside this situation.
Inside this heat.
So me, I just started calling a code school. They are in charge of first step. Chinelo, thank you. She did amazing work. And we got light yesterday. But before then, myself and my children open all the windows, everything, everybody
naked. You don't have electricity
on the ground.
At least a month or 2 months at least. It's back up. It comes only for 30 minutes and that's it. Let me take this story very quickly. Lagos State Governor was in Badagry, and I'm pretty excited about Badagry because I've written a book about Badagry, and it's really interesting. I love that book.
Oh my God.
When I'm done, I'll give it to you. It's a very fantastic book. It's Votono. The name of the book, Votono. I don't know if
it's a language. It's a language.
Anyway, so he was in Badagry, and he was talking about the proposed Badagry Deep Sea Port, saying that it will commence in June as soon as he gets the approval from the Nigerian Ports Authority. He said they're looking for their approval. Hopefully it comes in by April. He says that this is a multi-level opportunity for progress and development. They want to deliberately push development into that axis. So if you're looking for property, it's a good time to go and find property there because according to the government, they're trying to develop that entire region. They say they're developing the Ibejuleke axis with the...
Mr. Governor, so it's time to do the double whatever of the road like they did their Papa.
Rail now.
No, the road has to be done. If you are bringing a port to Badagry, don't add the years of hardship again. Just start doing the road immediately. Approve
what they did with Lekki, they should just do the same thing.
Casting of the road, build it for that weight that will be carrying.
Got it wrong, guys. Any other story important? Got it wrong. All right. No. Nigerian Tribune. Let's see the story. I'm not taking. I think everybody has taken. Oh, I laugh in meetings. Okay, I
didn't take the story.
You guys don't like political stories. Okay, we have to run. That's all we can take. On front page review, it's Wednesday. The hottest topic today is this that voting that they did at the National Assembly. And we're interested particularly about the fact that the gender bills were thrown out. When we come back, we'll discuss it. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So the month of March is usually seen as International Women's Month, which we plan to celebrate very soon. However, a lot of Nigerian women today are not happy about the outcome of yesterday's voting, especially because most of the gender rights bills were not accepted. Some of which we read were the decline of citizenship of foreign-born husbands of a Nigerian woman, when a Nigerian man's foreign-born wife could get his citizenship. Others says they denied Nigerians in diaspora voting. There was one that says denies the women's ability to take indigenship of their husband's state. And says denies 35% appointed positions for women. So these are a few issues that women have raised that were not accepted at the National Assembly yesterday. On the show today, we have with us Honorable Taiwo Oluga, who is a member House of Reps and Chairman Women in Parliament. And also, we'll be having one of the women protesting at the National Assembly this morning, especially because of this development. But first, let's speak to the lawmaker to find out how the voting went yesterday and what exactly happened. Good morning, madam. Are you there?
Good morning, ladies. I'm glad to be on your show.
Thank you, ma'am. So, a lot of women are not happy this morning because the news that went out yesterday evening was that many of the bills concerning gender was not accepted. One of which was the fact that a Nigerian woman who's married to a foreign man, her husband cannot get citizenship. Is that correct?
Let me start by appreciating the leadership of Ninth Assembly, especially the House of Representatives, Right Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila, for great work he did. He has been doing it during the review. And yesterday he really demonstrated it. There was a particular one of the bills that we voted 3 times. He had to lobby, resensitize us, reorientate members to make sure that they really put their weight behind women. But unfortunately, the whole thing went the way it went. And I want Nigerian women to get this right. It is not how about we feel. It is about democracy. And democracy is about thinking and willing to do, and you have the right to vote for whatever you think can work or that is good for you. So our feelings does not really matter. Protest, yes, good. It's good to create the awareness. But this is democracy, and women in Nigeria were part of the process. And the process is that we go by numbers. So the game is a game of numbers. If you have the numbers, you are good to go. If you don't have, you go back to the drawing board, you redraw, you re-strategize, you come out in full force. So I want to charge Nigerian women to please, irrespective of how we're feeling, our mood, the way we think, the way we see our men, no. Kudos to those men who voted for us. At a point in time, we got more than 80 votes. We're just 12 at the House of Representatives. Only 12 of us, and not even all of us were on seat yesterday. So that is to tell you that we got close to 70. At a point in time, we got 100 plus on a particular clause. So that is to tell you that we still have men that are really involved and are ready to make sure that women have their place in governance, in administration of parties, and so on and so forth.
Let me get a few more questions in for you. Go ahead,
Honorable Ma, I want to first appreciate you for the work that it takes to be in this kind of space, pushing as a minority within the National Assembly, and also join you in appreciating all the men, the he for she's, that have supported the females so far. I have been in some fora having this tough conversation, and they're saying, why are women asking for affirmative action? Why are we asking to be served? And it hurts me. Like, we're not asking to be served. We're asking for opportunity. And I want you to help women, maybe a few men watching right now, understand why this is an important clause to have included and why what we are demanding is a valid demand to make.
Yeah, I would like to urge more our honorable colleagues, that I would have expected personally that they supported us, that they really make sure that the bill skate through. I would have expected. But we still need to lobby more. We still need to play with them, that we're not there to compete with them. We're not there to be on rivalry thing with them. No. We're creating, we wanted to be on board to complement their efforts, to make sure that what they are doing is, because whatever you commit into the hands of female, you can be rest assured that she's going to carry it out diligently.
Honorable, I have to pause you here. In 2022, we have to start begging these people. I'm really shocked that we're still trying to beg them. I mean, is it not clear that it is, I mean, the First Lady was there last week because of this matter. She came with her entourage. They've been lobbying for years. These women, civil service of society, have been coming to the National Assembly lobbying. So if we're still discussing, we have to appeal to these people. Who are they? Who voted? We need to work against them, meaning that their constituencies need to call them to order. We need to know who voted against and who voted for. Those who voted against, don't you think it's time for us to take this to them?
Yes, I want us to get one thing clear. That power is not a self-calata. I want us to get that one right. And nobody will give you power that take. You have to fight for it, you have to work for it, and you have to pursue it with all you have. So it is not going to be an easy task the way we are feeling. I can understand the way you are feeling. I can understand the way Nigerian women are feeling out there. But it is normal. They are not going to say, we are no more on our seat, we have shifted for you. Do you know the meaning of what we are saying? We are saying that 2/3 or 1/3, 1/3 of members, the male members now, should give way for women. Yes. That is the meaning, that we want to have 35% affirmative. Out of 360, we want to have about 60, 70, 80 women coming back. What is the meaning? Some men will not be returning. So it's not going to be an easy task the way we're looking at it. It's not going to be about lobbying. Thank God and thanks to those who are supporting us. So all we need to do, number one, more women like us, 12 of us at the House of Reps and 8 at the Senate, should try to come on board more. That means if we double our numbers, like 40 or 80 or triple it in the 10th Assembly, that means we will have had about 70, 80 females that can really fight, like some of us that were here. Then we had about 100 plus that we have asked. Then we'll do some lobbying. Do you understand the chain? That is how it can work. But if with this, if some people are running away now, for example, some of us, the 12 of us here, if you think we are humiliated, we don't like the way they are treating us, I don't want to contest again, you are leaving it for them. And it is not over until it is over.
All right, let me pause you for let me go a quick break. When I come back, I'll come to Mariam. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We still have our guest, Honorable Oluga, in this building with us. Mariam had a question.
Yes, ma'am. Honorable, I understand that sometimes in politics you have to sort of play nice so that it does not seem like you're alienating your team members or your colleagues who, for me, have shown that they are also opponents. because there was a part of the conversations when we were asking for 30%, 35%, they were like, no, let's give them 15%. They said in front of people, they stood up with boldness and they said it. And now when you talk about we're not competing with them, we're complementing them. I get the use of that word, but I think it's now time to start competing with them. And when I say competing with them at the polls, competing with them at the grassroots level, when we're sensitizing people, when we're asking voters to vote, when we're educating the voters on what is the best for them, the sort of candidate that is best for them. We should not always go cap in hand, waiting to give them, waiting to ask for something to be given to us. And that was the attitude that I saw yesterday. So unlike, for me personally, I hate to just rant on something that has already passed. For me, once something has happened, the next step is to re-strategize. And I would like to know what concrete methods, what concrete steps we're going to take concerning re-strategizing and making sure our numbers are, higher and maybe at par with the males in the House of the National Assembly.
Thank you. Left for me, if you ask me personally, I would have said yesterday, at least out of the bills, about 2 or 3 could scale through. Number 1 out of it is the one that is regarding the activities, 30% activities of women at the political parties level, irrespective of your party, where the clause was requesting for 30% women. And if you ask me, and it's good I let Nigeria know that it is only 26 ESCO that we have at the local government level, at the ward level, even at the unit level, down to the unit level. And the clause requesting for 30%, only for the men. That was the most shocking one to me, that your female at home, your women at home that has been running up and down, that they have been doing everything for you, queuing, going out with you from morning till evening, you could not give space to them. 30% at the local, not coming to National Assembly now. Our women at home, they refuse. So what is the way out? The way out is that's why I started my speech by appreciating the Right Honorable Speaker. He said he's going to roll out the list. And I can't wait so that we have the list, then we'll roll it out. We'll move as a team to each of the geopolitical zone, the local government, as time permits, because we are running closer to the general election, see how we can let the cat out of the bag for women out there. Then the ball will be in their court, whether to continue running up and down for this particular representative.
Fantastic.
Who has voted
against them?
Who has voted against you being at the ESCO level in your local government, in your ward ESCO? So I think those are the things we just need to strategize more. We just need to hold the bull by the horn.
Fantastic.
And tell us what you want us to do.
Fantastic. I love that. That makes a whole lot of sense. So when we have the names of these people who want to share.
We are waiting for Right Honorable Speaker, just as he
said,
said, to release the list for us. And we're going to work on that.
No, he has already told them before they got
I'm
it.
sure by now the men will be free jetting. I'm sure they will start another lobby now. They will be free jetting.
Exactly. So that's my point exactly. I'm afraid that this list might never come out. So now, I just want to get behind the scene. As the chairperson, women in Parliament, how exactly did the women, the few women in Parliament, lobby, special seats for women in our legislative houses and, the affirmative action bill? How did you go about it? What was the mindset of those who were against it in your conversations? So that we'll know whether or not the list comes out, what we should be sensitizing people about. Is it the patriarchy in our society?
Thank you.
What's this?
Yeah. The kind of politics that will play here, we all know that it is not feminine. We all know that. And the men, out of their responses, I'm responding to your question now. Part of it is that, do they create another seat for you before you are here? So what are you talking? Out of the things we can pick from their responses, they know anyone that additional special seats, So they were totally against it. And just like I have said, that you cannot sit down at the corner of your room and say they should. So we were not too shocked at the beginning. This is the first time the bill will be introduced, creating additional special. And it will interest you. Even those that co-sponsored the bill, the mail that co-sponsored, Honorable Nkiruka said yesterday, they didn't vote. Some of them didn't vote for the bill yesterday. So that is to show you that politics is about intrigues. So we just have to work more. So what is the way out? The way out, I have said it, and I will say it again. Let's double our number. Whatever it will take us to increase our number from 20 at the House of Representatives and the Senate. Let's double it. Let's triple it. Let's make it 80. Whatever we have done that has made us to win the election. We have some first-time. I am a first-timer, just coming on board. I have some that they have gone through election process 4 times. Let them come out, train other women, mentor them, give them the courage. Tell them that they can make it, that they have the resources. Those are the things, that the meetings are not overnight. It is a lie. That when you are in politics, they will name you different names. You should develop thick skin. Don't mind them. Come out and let's see how we can double our number. When we have 80, 10th assembly, when we have 100, plus what we have now with little lobby. Rome was not built in a day. I am very optimistic that the 10th assembly, we can make it and the bill can scale through. But staging any protest, if you are staging any protest, it's good. It can't change anything. It can't alter the process. This is a democracy process and we are following it. So for the protesters out there, I salute their courage, for their time, for their everything they left behind to show solidarity and to show that they are not happy. But more than that, we should look for what exactly do we need to do. Let's go back home and bring in more women, irrespective of your party. Vote for women that come out in your constituency.
Thank you very much, Honorable Luga, for joining us this morning. We appreciate your comments this morning on this. As I said, there are lots of women at the National Assembly right now protesting. We'd like to see if we can reach one of them after the break. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So we're still getting calls concerning this issue at the National Assembly. I think I have Yakub from Dokoimu. Good morning, Yakub. Are you there?
Good morning, and then good morning.
You're live, Yakub. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, thank you very much. Let me begin by saying
the volume is low. Hopefully they can increase the volume.
That the first spoke now is that they were expecting the Honorable Bajabi and Mila to let them know who vote for them or who not vote for them. Morayo, it's not going to be easy. That name is not going to come out, I can tell you that. But the pressure will definitely come from those ones that are not voting for women in the house. Because they know the women have population in this country. The majority population that voted for the men is women. I wonder how they vote down that very particular clause. And then that because he sent affirmation, it's not going to be easy to get as the honorable just said earlier. You people, including you, Morayo, including Tope, Nima, and others, go and join political party. Don't say that the game is dirty. Hello, are you hearing me?
Thank you very much, Jakub. You're very, everybody has to get involved now. I mean, it's getting to that point where we are all seeing that there's a need for more women to get involved.
So I asked the Honorable a question that she should tell Nigerians why this is important. And I maybe you know, she didn't get my question.
No, she got it. She didn't feel harassed.
But what I feel is the reason women are asking for this is because until you wear the shoes, you cannot know how it pinches. And you cannot have a majority house of men making female-related decisions well. You don't do period. You don't get pregnant. You don't understand labor. You don't understand how it is. You just don't understand. It's not I cannot understand how it is to be a man. It's not in my wiring. I can feel for you, but I cannot understand it. For balanced society, men and women must be represented in law-making, in decision-making. And until we have such balance, we will not have a fair representation. And we're not asking for equality. The question in this push was for 30%.
Equity.
It's not even, we're not asking to overthrow. We're asking just bring in a few more people. And some men are thinking that we shouldn't ask. We should just go and work.
What the
but guess
Honorable
what?
said.
The House of the parties are controlled by men. The chairman of the party,
But
men.
understand what Honorable was saying. She was saying that no problem. But you see, allowing more women means I have to live as a man. So so it's not you're not just allowing women to come.
No,
You're saying I'm giving up my seat for a woman,
So
and that's
we
part
are
of what they say. It's
competitors.
difficult for them to
She said a
accept.
good thing,
Yes.
but then she spoiled it by saying you can't understand a woman. We're not asking you to understand a woman. Topper, wait.
Yeah.
We're talking take away the stereotypes. We are breaking biases this year.
Yes.
See, we are not telling you you must say it's about us coming to debate issues that concern only pregnancy, house sitting. Even in the issues that concern defense, bring a woman's perspective on board. That's what we're asking you. Miriam was involved in an accident this morning. Miriam was involved in an accident this morning. Military officers that were driving mail cars, they drove off. The women stopped traffic because they understood how important it was to save life. There's always a different perspective. It's the point of view that is different. And if you insist that it's about power, because if they put a woman's affirmative seat here and compel that this seat can only be taken by women, it means I lose my seat. Stop saying your mother was a miracle worker. Don't stop that rubbish. Stop coming out and say my mother. I love. Stop it. Consider all of them. Consider all of them and their points of view stupid. This is the point. These men, when they come to that seat, they're only concerned about the occupation of the seat. It is not about the representation of the people.
Yeah.
It is about the representation of the people. It doesn't matter the gender.
Yes.
It really doesn't matter.
Yes.
And we must compel that gender's provision by law in every part of the world where it was changed. Something affirmative had to be done. If they don't want to do it, then we'll continue to be here.
I
It's not about
understand
the numbers
what the
alone.
women are asking, and it's really like, just give us a
I'm
leg
not
up.
telling you to come and discuss
We've had
menstruation.
years and years of discrimination, and to catch up, you know, at such a time may be difficult, you know, if we go through the regular processes. But we have proven ourselves over time. And the men are, you've been in the position of power at the party level, the grassroots level. You know, you can just give us a leg up is what I believe this is about. Because I personally am not for just giving us seats, you know, just giving us because you are a female. But I understand that you can ask. You know, even when we're talking about empowering women, sometimes we say that we want a sponsor. That you need to have a sponsor that will hold your hand and just give you that leg up until you can stand on your feet. But now, they are not going to give that. They are not going to give that to us.
Fight for it.
And yes, they are asking us to fight for it, and it's their right to. So my own is, I don't want to sit down here and be complaining about what they should have done, how they did not give us, hey, what are we doing next?
Yeah.
What are we doing next, you know, at the grassroots level, at the party level?
Right.
What are we doing next as voters, as women voters, when our colleagues come to us to ask for votes? Why do we look at a woman and decide she's not going to be, she's a woman, and you'd rather give a man? Even though the woman has more qualification. So I'm not talking of a woman that does not even have the qualification or experience. When you would see a woman who is well qualified for it, has the experience, but because she's a woman, she's not given that seat.
Let me take this call. Good morning, are you there?
We're bringing votes.
Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. I'm told we have a caller. Okay.
Please, I was going to say that the conversation about, you know, your point is valid. So is mine, in that when we're making laws, you cannot have a law being made that will cover everybody without involving everybody. And you cannot understand what I'm going. I had a conversation with someone yesterday who is going through infertility, and I cannot imagine what she's going through. I'm a woman, but I cannot because I've not experienced it. So we can't blame you for not seeing my point of view, but you must bring someone with my point of view so that they can be there. Representation of people with disabilities must also be there.
Exactly.
But let us now put it into perspective. We cannot, from what she's saying, we are going to have to be begging them to give us what we want. But we know, if you go to any political rally, you don't need anybody to tell you, the votes come from women. We are the ones that vote.
So, thank you.
The votes if you go for it, we are the ones singing, we are the ones with Ashwebi, we are the ones that queue up under the sun.
Wait, see, you're taking me to exactly where I was heading. Because the English we speak in the air-conditioned conferences room, where we're having all these women talking,
it's not getting anywhere.
All those women groups, civil society, we come together, we get Sheraton Hotel, or we get a night on the Hilton, have a nice conference of women. You are not hitting, you're not even scratching the surface. We need to go to the ward meetings.
Yes.
That is where these women reside. That is where they will shop. So when we have this list, so we have to start a hashtag, release the list. Because when we get this list,
yes,
Mr. John in XYZ
local government will know.
One at a time, please. Like Mr. John from XYZ local government voted against. So all you women singing around Mr. John of XYZ local government, go and ask Mr. John, hey, you want me to go and sing for you? So Mr. John, they told you to vote, you don't vote. What happened? I'm not voting for you anymore. The next time you're coming, I am not going to vote for you because you obviously don't have my interest at heart. So we are waiting for the Honorable Speaker to kindly release that list because that is the weapon we have. So to tell these people who voted against and explain to them why they cannot continue to take us for granted.
I completely agree with you, but the problem is you're asking us to do it the same way it's been done all the time. Yeah. So eventually Mr. John just does something, buys a section of women and destroys the system. You see the men that are there. These men who, when it's Mother's Day, buy flowers and do bouquet and simple around up and down, put a place for the woman, guarantee that place. That woman you call gold at home, she's a gold anywhere in the world. Put her and guarantee her office. We're simply saying, eventually, over years, it will become normal for the woman and the man to coexist in the same place and achieve the same things. This is no longer paddy-paddy. We've paddy-paddy this long. Where are we? Where are we? Nigerians are volunteering to go and fight in Ukraine. We don't have dignity as a nation. Where are we?
Honoring Rwanda here.
I'm telling you,
65%
women representation, and they're a better country. You see the kind of debates they do. Where the men are simply afraid that the seats will go. They're not afraid that the country itself is not where it's supposed to be. We're in strike now. The House has called the organs of NMPC, but they can't compel anything. Where are we as a nation? We are involved in Russia and Ukraine border battles, something that does not even concern us. We are still not giving our people the one that concerns them that will make home for them.
Let me take this call from Trudy. Trudy, are you there?
Sure, sit down, Jerry.
Hello, Trudy.
Lost the call.
Let's take some.
Okay, let's take a few messages. We're going to wrap up this.
Her Excellency Bridget had the long one. She said, this particular bill is making me angry. Coupled with the situation in the country, if women were supporting women, I doubt if this bill would have been necessary in the first place. Just imagine, Bayelsa State House of Assembly, we have only 2 women, while National Assembly. In the party's primary election, our fellow women delegates voted against their fellow women simply because we feel women too do. In the society at large, we have more female than male. And she said, but our gender will prefer the opposite gender. No man would love to fight this battle for us except to decide to support ourselves. The election is coming up again. Let us support our fellow women. Females support female. The problem is, will the parties put their candidates female alone?
Let me take this call from Hassan. Hassan, are you there?
Good morning, Monayo.
Good morning, Mr. Hassan. Go ahead.
I can see that the temper is very high today.
Yes.
I better take it easy, eh? Let me bring something very close to you, please. You see, democracy is about freedom of choice.
Understand.
And when we are bringing gender into it, we are not helping matters.
Really?
If a woman distinguishes herself, sky, she will even go beyond the sky. Leave that issue of this gender equality and what have you. The House of Representatives member has said it all. Nobody will sacrifice his seat for another person, for a woman. Even a man. Those guys there are very conscious of that seat. They
are ready to die on that situation here. Talkless of gender or this or that. You women, go and distinguish yourself. A good woman, people will call for you. You understand? For this issue of trying to equate things, nobody is dragging anything with you.
Asa, thank you for making my point.
A man was born, any man, no matter how great that man is, was born by a woman.
Yep.
You understand? There's no way you can run past your shadow. You understand? So this issue of trying to be that discrimination is about class struggle. People are holding tenaciously to power. And even this democracy you are seeing, I'm telling you one day Nigerians will revolt against it because I can see that people are really abusing the democracy itself. Good morning.
All right,
thank you, Asa,
you know
for
what
making
is,
my point.
You know what is also funny? Just, you know how the men are constantly talking about zoning. Oh, now it's for the South. It's for... You understand why that is zoning, important. You understand that it's important that a certain region that has felt disenfranchised for many reasons needs to be highlighted and given a little bit of, you know, a leeway, a leg up. But when it now comes to the woman asking for almost exactly the same thing, you say, no, we cannot do it. So it's important that women have to re-strategize. And my own strategy is not really only at the political parties level. I think we need to start having conversations why a woman will look at a fellow woman and don't think she's good enough. Why she's looking at a certain woman and she does not think she's qualified to be in a position and she does not believe she will serve her interest. You know, it's normal that we talk about nepotism. Why don't we talk about the fact that if a woman is there, she's likely to understand it from my own point of view and make sure that what it is that I need, she would, you know, she will push. And then, you see, women too, we need to do better when it comes to giving support to each other. We see these men in politics. A lot of you will tell you we're this person's boys, we're this person's mentees, we're this person's whatever. How many women leaders, how many women do you have underneath you that are your mentees? How many are you supporting in different ways to help, you know, raise them so that they can stand confidently for office? How many do we have? We need to do much more to support each other.
This tweet just, you know, sort of summarizes it. Parties must lower the bar financially only to encourage participation, since that is clearly a problem. That's EHI. Rather than hand out tokenistic percentages, organic women participation must be encouraged. It's democracy, not charity.
No, but
the truth is, what Hassan just said, men will not let this go. Somebody has to guarantee that position, that percentage by law. It has to be by law. Or else we'll wait another 50 years to achieve what we can achieve in the short term.
My worry is that there's been so much lobbying on this, and I'm surprised that we're still at this in 2022.
Thank
That's
you.
my problem. Stay with us to be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So we're talking about this issue that happened at the National Assembly, and as we wrap up on this matter, what's your final take on this? Because we're talking about what are the next steps, and which is what Mariam left off with. What are the next steps? In your view, what do you think women across, up and below, can do at this time?
Like what we're doing this year now, trying to, you know, sensitize people to understand the importance of the role of women, the perspective to seeing any policy or decision or law that is being made. We've talked about this. But within the home, you still see people shy away from, okay, but let daddy say it first. This is not a confrontation. If you have a mind that is rich, brilliant, don't cover it up. Don't push that or, you know, destroy that person's complex when you know that's the most intelligent. And I mean, when it comes to decisions where families have to decide because of means which gender should go to school, don't ask the female that you know this person has more potential to step down for a male.
Mariam, your final thoughts on this?
Yes, so I think women, because majorly in Nigeria, we are, you know, domesticated, we're at home, and many times all those things affect maybe our interest in politics. So I feel that the way to support a woman and encourage her to step out also, that she can be a wife, a mother, as well as a politician or a representative, is that we need to find cells, smaller units, where we give support to women at their, whatever business it is that they're doing, whatever jobs they're doing, with raising their children, with empowering them in education. Then we'll have another breed of women that are intelligent, confident, knowledgeable about their communities and willing to stand up and represent those communities. We have to start from the bottom.
I want to speak quickly to all our female politicians, our mothers, the women leader or the ward level women leader at the state level who have spent years in this journey and who have sown seed and they have female children, that they need to speak up because they have the numbers and they can better negotiate with our male leaders using what they have. You can guarantee votes, you can start speaking now, because if not, your children might aspire, but they will never get there. So if you really, really love this country and you love your children, as any female leaders, female leaders within the party system must gather together and ask for the affirmative position from the party level so that female candidates come out. Because if we women want to vote, don't have female candidates to vote for, we will not be able to vote.
I'm just disappointed. I don't know what else to say. I think all has been said. I'm quite disappointed that we have a National Assembly, after years of lobbying, back and forth, taking this in and out. Civil society have been on this. The First Lady herself was there last week to remind these people. And even the Speaker himself, according to Honorable Oluga, they voted three times on a certain bill. He said, are you sure? I'm going to release your name. I'm going to write your name to this vote. Are you sure? Please vote again. And they voted exactly the same way. That in itself tells me there are enemies within the National Assembly that do not want women to move forward. And the truth is that we've done the best we can, but I think right now women have to go back, re-strategize, and find a new way. Let's go on the break. When we come back, we'll bring in a special guest who is also a woman leader, and hopefully we'll hear about her story, what she's done, and what she's doing in Lagos State. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So joining us on the show is Mrs. Adebisi Adelabo, the General Manager, Lagos State Parking Authority. She'll be discussing facts about the Lagos State Parking Authority and new parking policy. Welcome to the show, madam.
Thank you very much, ladies.
So before we get into your job and what you do, what are your thoughts on this gender bill? What happened? And how do you think we can get more women involved in leadership positions like you have?
I think, first of all, like you've rightly said, is having the right leadership that are willing to embrace the gender equality thing. Luckily for us, I think Lagos is a very cosmopolitan city, so women find it easier to get into it. But that's not to say it doesn't come with its challenges. It's probably just easier in Lagos. But somebody made a point here and was like, we need to start from the grassroots. Those meetings in the Hilton, at the Marriott, that's not it. It's the Makoko markets, the Ereko markets, those places. That's where we start from. Let them know their power. Once you know your power, the power of your vote, then people start to take you seriously. Because what you do by having that power to vote and exercising it is you're saying, I know my worth, I know what I can do with it, and I'm only going to step up for people that I know will represent me fairly. That's what I think we should do.
All right, so Lagos parking. When I saw this, I'm like, we know they do it in New York, I don't know much about UK, but you can hardly park in New York because they're always asking you to pay, you have to put on the meters. What are you thinking? I hope you're not trying to bring New York to Lagos.
Not exactly.
Okay,
no.
So what is the plan for parking in Lagos State?
So the governor, first of all, Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, felt there was a need to solve traffic problem. A big part of traffic in Lagos is parking. Parking congestion, trying to find a place to park, illegal parking. And how do we solve that? So he decided that it's best to come up with an authority whose core function is to regulate and enforce all forms of parking across the state. And that's what, in essence, we're trying to do. So we started last year, late last year, and we sort of took time to look at how best to deal with this problem. The first thing is that we need to let Lagosians know what is illegal parking. You know, you can't just, I take for instance Isaac John. People just park on the main. Isaac John is not designed for you to park and just pop into MedPlus or pop into Barman. If there is no setback where you should park into, then you can't park on the road. So
How do you get into MedPlus?
MedPlus should make, they have parking spaces.
They have parking spaces. When you apply for that building, there's something called a traffic impact assessment. And you find that most places, including event centers, submit something but build something else. That's why you have an event center that can take 1,000 people, but car parking for only 100 people.
Right.
So we are saying we're going to get there. We're going to look at those things, and then we'll start to tell you, no, you can't do that. It's either you start to think of acquiring land next to you, or you have to find an alternative location for your business, because you can't impede traffic. It affects our productivity. It affects our livelihood, you know. I don't want to get stuck 4 hours in traffic in Alimosho because some event center decided to collect 1 million and inconvenience everybody in that local government area. It's wrong.
I agree with you on the event centers, but let's use Adeyemi Bero, for instance. It's usually off-traffic place. There's this lay-by on the road where you think you can park, and written clearly in front of you is no parking. Then on Sundays, when you have events at Adeyemi Bero, of course you have to resort. The boys will start to park here. Yeah. So which one can we do? Which one can we resort to in the event that, you know, these alternatives are not there? If the boys come and they guarantee parking and protection of your car, which one can you do? You know the JJT park?
Yes.
You can't park anywhere
immediately
around, but even though you see some spaces.
So
what exactly,
there was
which
no
one
provision.
can you do? What kind of parking is allowed? Which one is not allowed?
Okay, so fundamentally, there's on-street parking, there's off-street parking. And then you have the parks and the garages. For the on-street parking, those are those places where you're allowed to park on the road. For the off-streets, that's the multi-story car park, the ground-level car parks where you can park. What we are saying is there are certain areas where you can't park at all, just because of the flow of traffic. There are places where you'll be allowed to park at certain times. And then we take into consideration the disabled, you know, emergency services. There'll be places that are left solely for them, where if you are parked there, then clearly it's an obstruction. And, you know, there are penalties for that. What we want to do is encourage a lot of off-street parking, which means you can go into a car park, but they will be regulated. So gone are the days where if I have half a plot of land, okay, everybody just come and park. No, you have to get a license. We make sure you have CCTV. We make sure that the size of the bays are correct, so cars are not scratching each other, hitting each other on their way in or their way out. We make sure that depending on the capacity of your car park, you have the manpower to support that. Basically putting sense to the structure that there is.
Okay, so to understand this, you're not saying you will be building car parks.
No.
You're going to be regulating and enforcing that those private companies?
Private companies, yes.
Okay. But I want, for most of the parking issues, I think I can see how it will be easier to enforce for the big, well-known roads, the major roads, but then the streets. And for me, I feel that's where the problem starts. Once the streets are congested, it spills over into the major roads. So who will be enforcing that parking is done properly in those inner streets?
That's a fantastic question. So along with trying to regulate the structure, we also want to empower people. And these area boys have a lot of local knowledge. What we are saying is we can't do it all by ourselves. That's not really our job. We just want to make sure that there is a system in place that works correctly. So you can apply as a concessionaire. A concessionaire in Agege will have different criteria than a concessionaire in Ikeja. You will employ those local boys. Everybody, I always say this thing, it's about dignity. I meet these area boys when I go to Issa Williams, when I go to Makoko, when I go to all these places. What they want is to be able to say, okay, I'm doing this job. At the end of every day, I have something to take home to my family. That's the reason why they're on those roads. Some of them are very well educated. What we are saying is those areas that have local knowledge, the concessionaire operating there, you will need them anyway. You're not going to bring somebody from Ogun State to come and collect parking money in Lagos Island. It has to be people that understand Lagos Island. So you employ them on board, and of course, so that there's safety, you know, if you're going to pay for parking and somebody approaches you, you want to be sure that this person I'm paying to. So all of them will have uniforms with a number.
Okay.
You can identify USSD code, WhatsApp, via the app. This number is correct. It will come up with a picture of the person. Then you know I'm actually paying to the right person. But above all, what's important to us is that we sanitize the system, you know. And to be fair, it's not just event centers. It's churches, it's mosques, it's some offices too. You get. The area where I live on a Sunday, it's a nightmare because of the churches there. You spend like an hour and a half, 2 hours trying to get to the end of the road. That's not fair, you know.
Okay, so this sounds interesting. It's a money generating venture, very really
but that's not the main goal.
which is what Lagos is trying to do. Everybody needs to generate funds, but there's a machinery already on ground with people who are stakeholders who are making money from this business as it is. And I'm wondering how you would take business away from those ones and how you would be hand them over to another set of people to be managing the funds. That's one. Number two is the fact that so as to avoid the challenges we're trying to work our way out of with the NUWRT, where we integrated a group of people, the ones that collect money from Okada, they are integrated into the local government chain, but we still see them, they look like, how do we ensure there's a system that if I'm parking by the road, the person coming to meet me does not look like someone that I will be scared of. You know, like someone that is high or,
like it's out.
You know, like it's out. How do we ensure we don't have that? Number one. How do we,
That's number two.
Let's just,
Okay, I think I just spoke on the enforcement verification.
Yeah.
If for whatever reason you feel like this person approaching me looks, obviously there are standards that we will set for the concessions, you know, and we'll have everybody's information on our database. That's why when you enter that number and it's not coming up with the right picture, then it's not the right person. You don't have to pay for that to that person. You can raise an alarm, you can report, you can do something about it.
My worry is that this thing sounds so nice on paper. Execution is a whole different ballgame. And the reason why I say that is, for the big streets where you have the churches, and you can somewhat regulate and ensure that there's a concessionaire. But there's those inner streets that Mary talked about earlier. You know, this is somebody's house. There are apartments here. They are parking on the road. There are regular shops here. I want to stop to buy plantain chips. And so those are those inner roads. Now, as a concessionaire in that street, how do I find a land? Do I buy a land? How do I regulate the parking on that kind of inner street?
On some of those streets, you can park on the streets. Those concessionaires will issue residence parking. That means that, for instance, if I live in Ikeja, Ikeja might be a green zone. So on my car, there will be that sticker for that green zone. It means that I'm allowed to do that. Of course, we don't expect you to have 20 stickers for all the areas you can only have one. So it means that, okay, I've paid for the right of that place. But the bigger picture is, and I think the governor has emphasized this, as well as the Commissioner of Transport, to tackle the traffic problem in Lagos. It's a holistic thing. You know, it starts from those people that build houses without adequate parking. And these are some of the things that you can use to mitigate that. It will come to land is our oil in Lagos. It will come to a point whereby if you build a house, 10 flats, and you don't have adequate parking for 20 cars, which is based on each flat will have 2 cars, people will refuse to rent your house. We are going to get there eventually in Lagos. We're not there yet, but we'll surely get there because we're exploding in terms of population every day. And where do all these people live? How do the logistics of getting around in Lagos, we need to start from somewhere. And I believe that's why the governor is saying, let's start here now. Let's start to tackle it. Of course, it's themes agenda, and then transport being number 1 is a key factor in that. And that's why we're here.
Yeah, maybe just money. So if my neighbor built 12 flats and I've been telling them since, let me just quickly turn my own.
Then somebody just sent a message. Please mention to our guests that the planning authorities are not making things easy at all. I think you just mentioned people buy houses that can take 6 to 10 tenants without parking garages. But mechanics are warehousing also. So these mechanics are on the road. I know that's not your area, but they also park cars on the road for fixing. How are you going to do that? Because I don't want to mention my own. I know a few places that have mechanics on their roads right now.
Okay, so there's the SA, Special Advisor on Transport, has the abandoned committee that deal with that. They've been in existence before we came along. Okay. So I'm sure that at some point we'll be working together to rid Lagos roads of that. But it's the same thing. Why do you feel like you should park abandoned? You carried a car from America or whatever, second-hand you want, and then you park it on the road for 6 months.
Okay, so
I wanted to ask parking. So abroad, we see them where you park your car, and you come back and you see tickets. Is that where we're headed?
At some point,
Are you getting parking meters?
Yeah, we'll get meters and
we
tickets.
will be at some point. We have a 5-year plan.
Okay.
So we understand that the future of parking is artificial intelligence, but we're not there yet. We need data for that. Data is your number plate. So we need to evolve from a system where whichever way you're paying, when you start paying, to enter your number plating. So whether you're paying by the app, whether you're paying POS, whatever, we must take your number plates. And then we'll begin to transition. So from there, we'll go to the parking meters in those areas that we feel the parking meters will work. And then we'll transition going into overhead sensors, where when you park, your database is already on the system. We see your number plate. So even if you don't pay and go, we'll find you somewhere.
Please, I want to ask two questions that I've been carrying over since.
Yeah.
How do we avoid abuse? You know, because we know that there are cases, I've witnessed a major crisis where an accident happened because the local government guys were trying to collect money from the Okada rider, and it led to an accident, and all the Okada riders gathered together. They were going to lynch the collector, the fund collector. And how do we avoid abuse? How do I avoid somebody just saying that I parked, you were here, jump into my front, and then they'll say you must pay this money? What's the system to avoid that? Well, number two, I've had a story where some of these parking spaces, these mechanic villages are owned by strong politicians that have been in the industry for many, many years. And they will tell you, that can come and carry me from this place. And it has happened. You know, there was a place, they locked down all the shops, and 2 shops were left in that same place. They broke down every other person's shop, and I was told that this person, the owner of the shop, is a strong, old-time politician. And they couldn't do anything.
I will hear some people, they die. They will pay their credit.
You know, so like, how can we?
It's not easy.
So yes, you are correct. Obviously, parking isn't new in Lagos. Lagosians pay for parking. What we're saying is that those people that hide behind the scenes or are not seen, they need to now come out and be legitimate. We are legalizing the system. Fundamentally, that's what we're doing. We are legalizing it. So you can't hide under anybody anymore. You need to come out and say, I own this land. This is my business. I am responsible for whatever happens here.
I'm the one collecting the money.
I'm the one collecting money as well. That's what we're doing.
So now, sorry, I know nobody wants to ask a question. So, Fred, I want to have an idea of what the concessionaire should be thinking. So I live in Ikeja, and this is my axis, and the inner roads, I've given them the green tag, so I know all my residents. So Nima comes in with her own yellow tag from a different county, or from different local government, comes in here, and she wants to buy plantain chips. Now, as she enters, she parks on the road. Now, double parking. I, as a guy, I see her, I'm like, madam, you're not allowed to park. She said, I just want to buy plantain chips. Now, would I say, okay, would I charge her to pay for that parking few minutes? Do you have to charge her? Or would they, I mean, what would the system be like? Would they start charging any foreigner that comes into that street to park? Or there will be some kind of allowance of between this time and this time, you can park, and this time and this time. What would it look like?
So, in some places, you will have to pay. Some places, like I said, depending on the volume of traffic around those areas. Some places, unfortunately, say, for instance, I'm on Toyin
Street, yes.
Toyin Street.
Yes.
Toyin is a no parking area. Just because of the way that place operates. You can't park on the street. One car there 2 minutes can cause a backlog of 10 minutes.
There's a bolly seller there, very fantastic bolly.
So you will enter a setback and walk to the bolly seller to go and buy. The thing is, we do these things in other people's countries. If I want to go into central London, I'm not going to say because I'm just popping into Selfridges or I'm popping into something, I'll just quickly run in there and then park my car and go out. I will plan my journey before I leave my house. If I'm paying congestion charge, I know that, okay, that's my £15. I'm only going to... So why can't we do the same in our own country? That's what I tell people.
And you know what I see this would solve? You know all the roadside markets and the roadside.
Exactly.
So if we stop, so if we stop going there because we don't want to pay the extra parking money,
at all. No, that's not it.
The Toyin you just mentioned, that entire Toyin has shops.
They have setbacks too. People just don't like entering those setbacks. And you will find that this will force them to getting into those. You know, is that inconvenient? That 2 minutes. Why?
Then Lagos Island.
Hey, I want to buy Bali. It's Lagos.
Lagos Island.
We
I
love
can see
to-
the money coming in.
I
Because
like Bali too.
Yeah, I can buy Bali. I can't stop what I said.
I mentioned Lagos Island.
Yes.
On Lagos
Lagos
Island,
Island
all
trade
the
fair.
under bridge in Apapa.
Yes.
What exactly are you going to do to sanitize under the bridge?
They'll just
Are they going to stop?
No.
Are you going to continue? How is it going to work?
I can tell you already that we've had different applications for people that want to build multi-story car parks in Lagos Island.
They have money in this country.
Why can't we build? It's a viable business.
It is.
Like
I wish I had money.
Tucker
I'll
said,
build.
people have been doing it for years. You know, it's just that a lot of people just parking, you know, and then
Government
they hit
is
that
looking at the
and
money.
Let's
Yes,
look
there's
at
money.
it
That Lagos
elsewise.
Island, what they will make.
So you go to Lagos Island and
Yeah.
you shop the entire market, like when I was doing my wedding. And you cannot carry it to the place that you know. So what exactly do you do? The car that you're hiring, where does it park? Does the shuttle take you? What exactly do you
in
do?
the abroad,
Pay for
we-
shipping.
we
So,
carry your
no,
goods.
hold on. As of now, when you buy it, say for instance, because I'm a
Alaru
Lagosian.
will escort you
So
with
the
it.
Alaru that
do
carries
matter.
for you when you go to Gorodome, the car doesn't follow you into Gorodome.
No.
Exactly.
The car will park at Balogun or Issa Williams, that junction, that you
I don't have to
CMS.
tell you how I do it.
Okay,
Wait,
but I'm sure that it's not a car that
So
follows
Alaru
you
will
in.
follow you into the parking space. That's what she's saying.
Technically, the same way you do
They
it.
don't like stress in
it's-
this
Don't you
Lagos.
want to
They
remove
don't like,
Alaru
and I don't like
suffering
stress
and all
either.
of those things?
Alaru suffering.
I don't know. It's not gainful
Do you
employment.
know
I
the
see
one-
that wink.
You know the one I would
have to
want
run.
us to work on?
Yeah.
If there's a way. You see those people that stop to greet each other? And cause
Aye.
help me, please.
Peanuts.
What can we do? They
There's
stop
a particular
right
tribe
and they
I
are
just
talking
cannot
to each other.
mention. When they stop to greet each other, you dare not interrupt it. You queue up and respect yourself.
But why?
It's just,
They can
it's just,
beat
it's just
you.
abuse.
And once we legalize it right now.
Yes.
We need
Now
to buy
these
them.
downfall
I want to be able to
drivers,
give them a
stop
ticket.
on the
They
road
cannot
to
face
park.
them. Oh. Even this one, they cannot.
You thought your
they
English
cannot
and
face
fineness. You cannot face down for driving.
them.
Anyway, we have to run. Any final thing you want to tell us before we go?
Yes, well, we're hoping that Lagosians will see this as a good thing for everybody. Of course, we understand, which is part of the reason I'm here, that sensitization is important. You have to let the public know what we're trying to achieve so that we get their buying. And then, of course, you start seeing signages going up around the areas. We're not rushing into this. We're taking it in phases to make sure we get it right. So hopefully I'll be back here soon. And
I
we'll
think
talk
you're
about
one of
it.
the most beautiful human beings I've seen in a long
Like,
time.
so
You're like
pretty.
so
You're
gorgeous.
on camera.
I don't even think parking, they should have given you wrong correct
tourism,
parking.
pageants,
But you find babe like this for parking.
And then
Governor
obviously
Sanwo-Olu carry you to
smart.
parking.
So, Governor Sanwo-Olu, we need to appreciate you. All the
Yes.
women that have come from,
Very- oh, yeah.
from all the ministries.
Yeah, very well.
Smart. This is what we're saying we should put her in
But you seem like you're
National
tough
Assembly.
inside, Sha. You just have this baby face, but maybe you're really tough inside.
Well,
voice
we'll
in this
see.
We'll see. But thank you very much. It was a pleasure having you on the show.
Oh my
Thank you.
God.
My pleasure.
That is
Very
all
speechless.
we can take on the show. See how we women behave, and you go to National Assembly and vote rubbish.
Don't mind them. They're not listening to your
Women, we need women in this government.
need-
You need women. Have a lovely day. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.